Hello and welcome to Normal Parenting, brought to you by Bubble, with me, Ellie Taylor. In each episode, I force an interesting person who happens to be a parent to be my very best friend for 10 whole minutes, but only via video call because I'm not allowed to touch them. Sad face. This week, I'll be asking my guests what normal parenting means to them in this absolutely bananas, unnormal 12 months we've had. And this one's going to be a corker because I'm joined by the award-winning novelist of titles, including the Sunday Times bestseller Adults, which she's now casually adapting for TV, among too many other cool projects to mention, because like I said, we've only got 10 minutes. So welcome, Emma Jane Unsworth.
Hi, Ellie. Thank you for that lovely, very kind introduction. How are you?
Very well, thank you very much. So I'm going to start at the beginning. Let's start by talking about who you were in lockdown with. Who were your cellmates?
So my cellmates were my husband, Ian, and my little boy, who's called Fox. We call him Foxy, and he's ginger like me. It's very apt. And he's 3, nearly 4. And then I'm pregnant. I'm really pregnant. I'm 8 months pregnant now. So I feel like I've had another person living in me, certainly for the last few months when she's been making her presence known.
Ah, little girl. Oh, how lovely. So how pregnant were you? Like, you was really quite early on when lockdown all started.
So I just found out I was pregnant. It was like a week into lockdown, something like that. It was really early on. So it's been the strangest lockdown, just having a knowledge of that all this time too.
So in lockdown, it was just you, your husband and Fox a lot of the time, I'm guessing.
It was a lot of time, but not as much as some people had their kids for, because my husband's a GP. So we had a key worker nursery place sent from heaven. So he worked for a lot of lockdown, although it all went over the phone. But we had a spanner in the works, so it wasn't quite as straightforward as that sounds, because we found out the week that I found out I was pregnant, we found out my husband had cancer as well. And so he's had it treated and it's all fine, but we had a really strange week of news, of very good and very awful news. It felt like, if I put that in a book or in a screenplay as a writer, I feel as though a good editor would say, no way, that's OTT, it's implausible, take it out. But this was real life. And so we had so much to just sort of grapple with against the backdrop of, global horror and the world falling apart. So that was the kind of the beginning of lockdown, and then things got a bit more normal. Ian had treatment, which thankfully worked, was really successful, and so then he could get back to work, we rolled on from there, just taking every day as it came, like everyone.
Oh my God, Emma, what a bloody year. Crikey, I'm so glad to hear he's all right. And I suppose what I'm thinking, hearing that, so Fox being in nursery, I always thought, I had a few friends who were key workers and their kids were in nursery too. And it was sort of like we had different pandemics different lockdowns, I suppose, because there were the parents who had the children all of the time with no break. And then there were you guys who could shove the kids in the boxes that they were meant to go in for a while. So did you feel like, not that you were missing out, but that must have been quite weird to sort of see everyone else having this different experience to you?
It was, and it made me think a lot about the way I parent and about what I do with my son, even at the weekends. And I think that I've got better at playing because of the way I've been thinking about everyone having their kids around all the time, and having Fox around more. We did take him out for one of his usual days and just had him at home around more because it just felt right. Like, we wanted to do the bare minimum that we could in terms of the nursery, so that minimize the risks. And so having him around more just made me think about what I'm getting out of parenting and what I'm putting in and what the details of it are, I suppose. I'm a person who's always thought that she wasn't very good at playing. I always thought that, I can't do that. I'm not very good at playing with kids, even evidently my own child. But actually, it's a skill. That's what I found, certainly for me anyway. It's a skill, learning how to play. And that's what I've learned, sort of how to just relax and go into it. You'd think I'd be better at it because, like, having an imagination, supposedly. But I wasn't. I was rubbish. I just used to get really tired and bored when I was trying to play. But I feel like now it's like, it's easier than I thought, actually. You just have to just relax and go with it and just be daft, really. Certainly with a 3-year-old, just be silly. And it's nice just being silly. And so I feel like I've got better at playing. That's for sure.
And did you find time for yourself to work during lockdown? I think there was a lot of pressure for, to create and make sort of use of this time at home. How did you respond to that?
Like, you'll finish 5 books, you'll get so much
Oh.
done, but we couldn't, no one could think straight, could they? Because everyone was, even if they did get any time to themselves, they were just terrified and trying desperately to plan at a time when we've learned we just can't plan anymore. So that just kind of blockage in the head was constantly there. I found pockets of time, but I think as a parent, you get better at working in pockets of time anyway. I certainly have. And just making the most of those intensive bursts. So if you get an hour there, 2 hours there, I'll do so much in that. Whereas before I had a child, I might have just, not been as productive in a short burst of time. So I think I've got better at that, and I got even better at that during lockdown, kind of like doing like a 5-minute power write if I had to just bash some stuff down. And I think I've always believed that being creative is as much about thinking as it is about putting anything down on paper. It's not about what you paint or what you write or how many words. It's about just having that time to think and about grabbing those moments. And those have felt harder to get, but also I think when you do get them, you can make more out of them. Even if it's just 5 minutes standing in the garden, just letting your brain just run wild, just having a few moments to yourself in that way.
Yeah, I think not having for me, like a walk to the station or a walk to nursery or that kind of thing, that kind of time, well, you're doing something, but your brain is somewhere else. I think I think that's exactly it. You miss that sort of I don't know, space for your brain to breathe.
Yeah, we can do a lot in those times. It's like sometimes if I've got a scene to write, I'll think through it in that 5 minutes rather than having to sit at a screen and do it. I'll do it thinking it through instead. And it feels like it counts as a preamble to work, for sure.
Yeah, it's like doing the legwork, isn't it? I absolutely agree with you on that. Did you find any particular solace in lockdown? Was there any activity that you did, or did you turn to books, which I imagine will be a great source of comfort for you?
Do you know, since I became a parent, I've got really rubbish at reading, and this is something I need to sort out. I've managed to get my writing back on track-ish, but I can't read like I used to anymore. I don't know, it's this weird thing that I've got. I need to sort it out, get some tips. So I don't read half as much as I used to. I think it's because I used to read in bed, and so I used to read when I got into bed, and now I'm so tired, I'm just straight away. Or I used to read when I got up in the morning. When I woke up and I'd have a coffee, and now obviously I don't wake myself up anymore. My son does, so that's gone.
Did you ever have any? Did you have any silly arguments with your husband, or not silly at the time? I suppose they're all quite important when they happen.
Oh yeah, loads. We did, but we've got better at arguing, my husband and I, because I used to be a person who didn't argue as well, and I think this was like a key reason why a lot of my previous relationships didn't work, because I was just a sulker. I was just a great sulker, which I take some pride in. I was a really good sulker, but it didn't really, it wasn't very progressive, and it certainly didn't sort things out. And when you've got a kid around, I think I felt as though one of the great upsets of my childhood, even though my mum and dad were great, was when I felt like there was tension and my mum would just storm off, or there'd be this mood over the house. And I thought, right, okay, I've got to sort this out. I don't want that to be the same thing for my son. So my husband and I've really been working on our communication, and just making that better and healthier and more open, and having, the right, not being afraid to have a healthy argument that we will find a resolution at the end of, hopefully. So yeah.
Oh, you smug bastards. No, I'm messing. You're allowed it. After the year you've had, you're allowed to be smug about something. And if you can communicate well, then good. You bloody deserve it. It'd be nice to end the chat cheerily. So I'd like to ask, were there any particular standout moments? Is there any really fond memories that you'll have of your strange little lockdown time?
So something really cheery, something that really cheered me up and still makes me laugh. When everything was getting a bit on top, I was on the loo in the bathroom in my old flat. And there was one of my son's plastic toys on the floor. It was a leopard, from one of those boxes of animals that they get. And it was upside down on the floor. It was making direct eye contact with me, this leopard. So I was looking at it thinking, I feel like you're trying to tell me something. I'm not an overly spiritual person, but, I go to yoga, or I used to. And this leopard was looking at me, and I felt like it was trying to, suddenly the words came into my head, be grateful, be thankful. And I was like, that's what I need to remember. I need to be more thankful for all of the good things that are in my life, as well as all things that feel like they're spiraling out of control. And that has characterized a lot of, certainly the second half of lockdown for me, just being really grateful for my health, my family's health. And I've still got that leopard. When we were moving house, I was like, got to know where my gratitude leopard is. I call it the gratitude leopard now. I've got to know where the leopard is. And then I have it in the house. So I put it around and I just make eye contact with it every now and then. I'm just like, yeah, okay, I hear you, leopard.
So 2021's looking busy for you, but not only a new baby, you've got a book coming out as well.
I have. I've got a book coming out in May that's called After the Storm, which is about my experience of postnatal depression, because I had that after my son was born. But it's not a bleak book. It's hopefully an entertaining, informative book, because I couldn't find anything when I had it. I didn't know what was wrong with me for a long time. And so I wanted to put something out there after I got better and just say, hey, look, this happens. It's really common. 1 in 10 women suffer from it, they think, in some form. So I just wanted to put something out there that might be useful as well as cathartic for me to get it all out.
Oh, Emma, that sounds so interesting. And I can't believe what a year you've had and how shiny you seem at the end of it. So all the very, very best of luck with the new little girl. And all the best for 2021.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Ellie. You too.
Thank you so much, Emma. And thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this episode, then brilliant, because we'll be back soon with a brand new one. See you then.